Jodi, take us to that day when you found out that he had been killed. What do you remember about that day?
I really don't remember the day at all. I just remember when I got the phone call, and it was late, 10:30, I think.
Who called you?
A mutual friend of ours.
And what did he or she say?
He didn't say much. He didn't know much, and he just said something has happened, and I don't have a lot of details. And I said, well, what can you tell me? And again, I just don't have a lot of details. And I thought, well, maybe it's a mistake. Are you sure? And he said, I'll let you know when I know more, but you're the first person I thought to call.
What was going through your mind?
It was a shock, a feeling of shock and a sort of disbelief. And there wasn't, it was a real restlessness because I didn't know. And I felt, I don't know, you just don't know until I actually got confirmation of what had happened. That's when things really began to sink in.
What did you do at that point? Once you got more information, what did you do?
It was over the phone, and so I just remained as calm as possible. And while I got confirmation from his bishop, who actually confirmed it, and at that point, it was just about me holding it together over the phone and crying as silently as possible while he told me what he knew. And then I hung up with him, and
Were you here in town, or were you?
I was in Wairika, California.
When was the last time that you saw Travis?
It was sometime in early June.
How far before his death, do you remember?
I don't remember exactly, but it was very close to.
There were, you were mentioning in the interview before this, the pictures that were found and recovered of the two of you.
Mm-hmm.
You were mentioning what was on those pictures. The detective did show you one. Could you explain that?
Well, it's not, it's all public information, but it's nothing that I'm really comfortable talking about. And it's nothing that he nor I ever intended to be made public. It's something that we intended to keep private. But now that all of this has been thrust under a microscope, everybody knows about it. So part of me says, why bother trying to skirt around the issue? And another part of me says, have a little discretion. But again, it's public information, and they're just photos that we took and that we deleted with the intention of, that wasn't a one-time incident. I mean, there were many times where,
You took pictures?
Yeah, pictures, whatever, and any kind of media, and it was deleted because it's just something that we didn't intend to ever keep.
Can you talk about some of your love for photography and just in general the type of photography that you did?
Yeah, I've loved photography since I can remember, since I got my first camera. I've taken pictures of everything you could think of, and I think what I really began to enjoy and settle in on was people. I really enjoy nature and sunsets, but people and their expressions, moments, especially weddings when you can just see expressions on people's faces and emotional moments. I love capturing that sort of thing.
Jodi, why do you think investigators believe that you killed Travis?
Well, there's a lot of forensics suggesting that I was, in his house. Of the evidence that they presented to me, I was asked the question, if you were presented this evidence and you were a third party, what would you think? And, I need to be honest, and the evidence is very compelling, but none of it proves that I committed a murder. None of it proves that I committed a crime. What it does substantiate is what I did tell detectives.
I have to ask you this, did you kill Travis Alexander?
Absolutely not. No, I had no part in it.
Did he have any enemies at all?
To my knowledge, no. He had a strong personality, but he was very well liked and loved. I just can't think of a single soul.
So you had nothing to do with Travis Alexander's death, is that what
Nothing to do with it.
To know that he was stabbed some 27 times and shot once in the left cheek, who could have done this to him?
I don't know.
Who do you think killed him?
I have no idea.
Do you think that it was a random thing or somebody that knew him? I mean, this is a close to?
This was a guy I was close to at a time when we were really trying to
Right.
move apart from each other. So, I mean, there were certain details about his life that I never did know about, and there were even more details that I did not know about, as well as details about my life that he didn't know about because I had moved on. I had moved to California. So we were making a sincere effort to grow apart and to be apart and to move on. But nonetheless, he did remain a close friend of mine, and I just can't think of.
In police reports from the Mesa Police Department, it states that some of his family and his friends told the detectives that you had become obsessed with Travis. Is that true?
His family and friends said that.
According to the police
That's
report.
the police paperwork.
Oh, well, I think that I've only met his grandmother, so I don't think that that's accurate at all for his family to say. But I think that if I were in their shoes, I would be going very much off of what police were telling me. I wouldn't use obsession. I would say, I don't know. I think that when more evidence comes out, it'll be very telling that it was a two-way street, and Travis was a wonderful person, but he was also very persuasive, and he was hard to say no to, and it was hard. You know, he wouldn't allow me to not answer his text message. If I didn't respond, he would keep calling until I did, and so to me that wasn't obsessive behavior on his part. It was just I took it as a compliment. If he wanted to talk to me, okay, that's great.
But were you obsessed with him? Those are the allegations they make.
No, not at all.
Jodi, you're pretty calm sitting here. Somebody who's been arrested, accused of murdering somebody, how are you managing to stay so calm?
Through my faith and through the knowledge of my own innocence. That's the only thing. I would be shaking in my boots right now if I had to answer to God for such a heinous crime. But I'm very grateful that this is one thing that I will never have to answer to when I stand or sit, when I'm before the judgment seat someday. And all of my actions, my thoughts, my words, the things I've done and said are called into account. This is not one of those things that will be brought up. I've done many things that are shameful, but this is not one of them.
How do you yourself said that some of the evidence that investigators have is damning? How are you going to move past that? How are you going to get beyond this and prove your innocence?
That's just that's a defense strategy that we'll have to work out.
Why did you want to speak out today?
I kind of feel like since I've been incarcerated, it's almost like there's been a proverbial duct tape over my mouth, and I haven't been able to say anything. There have been a lot of people that have been speaking out and saying things, on their side, and this isn't a two-sided story. This is a multifaceted story. There are many sides to this story, and I just don't feel like mine has been represented.
What do you want people to know when they see you tonight? What do you want people to know?
I have to ask this because they said that there was a gun. Did you have a gun? Did Travis have a gun?
To my knowledge, it was like a .25 caliber gun. I did own a gun. It was a 9mm though, and it had never been fired. It was a brand new gun.